Now, I've briefly kind of gone over the nesting of our text here, but what is nesting text? So, with Android and iOS, they both allow you to display formatted text by annotation ranges of a string with specific formattings, like we showed here with bold, color, and fonts. Now, in practice, this can be very tedious. That way, this is why React Native decided to use a web paradigm for this, where you can nest the text to achieve the same effect, like we showed here. Uh, so let's look at another simple example. Decrease the height, 50. Both on the page now. This one we will do gray. All right, so in this view tag here, let me show you a cleaner view of using nested tags. Let's just create a text, and inside this, let's just do another text. And the parent, I am bold. I am the child. I am red. All right, so here we have two text tags. We have our outer, our parent tag, which is going to have text, I am the parent, I am bold. And then inside of our parent text tag, we also have a child text tag that is going to display the text, I am the child, I am red, and bold. Now, to make this work, we now need to apply some styles. So I'll come down here and we will add styling. So we'll add parent base text, and we will set the font weight to bold. And then we will set the inner text, and we will set it to be the color red. Okay, so far nothing has changed. We now have two new styles that we need to apply. So we'll take our parent base text, and we'll come up here and we will add our style to the parent. And since this is only one style, we don't need to add extra swirlies or an array. We can just do styles dot parent base text. When we save that, we see that all of our text is bold. Now, what we're also seeing over here, though, is all of our text is one big line of text. That's because we have no breaks in here. And you can do that in case you want to actually add bold within a line of text and then continue on doing some other text. So we can do I am bold and then add another style here. And styles dot inner text. And you can see I am the parent, I am bold, and I am the child, I am red and bold. So this is an interesting way of creating custom style tags in order to bold, italicize your text uh, midstream within your applications. So after that, we could actually then continue typing more text. I am after child and bold. So behind the scenes, React Native converts this formatting to a flat NS attributed string uh, in iOS, and in Android, it's a spannable string. I'm sorry, that's backwards. So behind the scenes, React Native is converting this text uh, to a flat NS attribute string tag. Now, on iOS, it's converting this to a spannable string. So it would read something like this. It would convert it, and inside of the spannable string, it would contain the text I am bold and red. Then it would have an attribute for 0 to 9 being bold, or basically 0 position here to the position here. The attribute would be bold. And then it would say the next set of text from this position being, say, 9 to 17 would be bold and red. All right, so next let's talk about the text tag as a container. So the text element is a unique relative to layout. Everything inside is no longer unique or using a flex box layout, but instead it's using a text layout. This means that elements inside of a text tag are no longer rectangles, but wrap when they see the end of the line. So to see this example, let's create one more example here. Let's bring this text down because the height can be a little bit smaller for our example here. There we go. So let's create another scroll view here. And in this one, let's start with a text. Here it starts with capital. And again, we'll do nested text. Okay, in the first part, this will be first part. And then we have second part. All right, we save this. We see our, even though we have nested text tags, the text is all displayed on one line, first part and second part. Let me also make this guy white to read, yellow, green. There we go. All right, so now here, the text container, the text will be in line if the space allows it, the first part and the second part. Otherwise, the text will flow as if it was one, the first part and second and the third. So if we actually shrunk this here, we would actually make our width, say, 50. You see it actually stacks the text. So it only goes in line until it reaches the end of the container, and then it wraps. All right, so next, do another scroll view here. Let's try and find colors that stand out so we can see. We'll just use blue. All right, so blue. All right, so the next one. So if we do it this way, so if we get rid of the outer text and just put our text inside of our scroll view, each text is its own block, the first and the second part. So you notice here, they're not in line because these texts are just added inside of the view. When added inside of a text container, they are treated as inline text. Okay, does anyone have any questions regarding the text block?
Nope. None.
All right, so next, let's talk about some of the limited style of inheritance. So when we look at web pages, typically you will see some type of text that looks like this. Yeah, comment here. So on a web page, you might have some CSS that looks like this: HTML, font family, lucid, brand, etc. Font style, the font size, 11 pixels, and color, some funky uh, text code. Now, on the web, we can use this kind of CSS attribute to set our font family and the size for the entire document. Uh, and because we're applying it to the HTML tag, this now becomes inherited for all of our web pages. So if we apply the CSS to all of our web pages, they all have the same look and feel. So all the elements in the document, again, will inherit this font unless they or one of their parents specifies a new rule. Now, because of this rule, React Native requires you to wrap all the text nodes inside of a text component. You cannot have a text node directly under a view, or really you shouldn't have a text node under a view if you want to apply a universal text formatting. For example, let's go to this one here. So in this example here, if we just typed in, let me do one more here. So let's have a scroll view. Let me just do view. And instead of putting in a text tag, I just did hello world. It does not like that. That's because you are not allowed to just stick text into your code willy-nilly. It tells you right here, text string must be rendered within a text component. So this guy has to be wrapped inside of a text tag. And that worked. Now, React Native still has the concept of style inheritance, but it is limited to the text subtrees. So in our example up here, where we applied the styles, uh, we applied the style here. So it applied to the bold, and then it also applied to the subset. And then the subset, we added an additional style of red, which applied only to this text here. Now, this might seem a little convoluted in order to format your text, but you have to think in terms of web development or mobile development. So the device really has no concept of things like bold, italic, like on the web. We have to actually create custom styles to do that using the style, the CSS like styles of the JavaScript styles object. So this more constrained way to style text will yield better apps that we can develop. So for instance, from a developer's perspective, the React components are designed with a strong isolation in mind. You should be able to drop a component anywhere in your application, trusting that as long as the props are the same, it will look and behave the same way. The text properties that can inherit from the outside of the props would break this isolation. Now, from an implementation perspective, the implementation of React Native is also simplified. We do not need to have a font family field on every single element, and we do not need to potentially traverse the tree up to the root every time we display a text node. The style inheritance is only encoded inside of the native text component and doesn't leak to other components or the system itself, making it very easy for us to create custom look and feels for our applications. So with that, are there any questions?
Yeah, question for you, Mike. So how is it hard to transfer, let me say, this code, since it's strictly for mobile app, to turn into a web page, or can you copy code, let me say, from, let me say, the Spring Suite and post it in native and it works, or tweak a few things here and there?
You may have to tweak a few things here and there. Mm-hmm. The nice part is, so with React Native, mm-hmm. Where's my console? So what I could also do is I could also open this up as a web page. So if I do W, browser somewhere. Good. Oh, there it goes. And it does not like something I did. What did I not save or not do? It's not like something I, oh. Yeah, okay. He's happy, he's happy. Reload. Oh, I need to add some components for web. So let me go over to our little cheat here. So this tool will automatically include the components it needs to display it as a web page. So that's the nice part about React Native. Not only will this convert it to a device, but it will also convert it to a web page.
Okay.
But yes, typically you would have to copy your styles over, probably tweak it slightly. Like for instance, in CSS, it's background dash color, okay. But in React Native, it's background color. If you're using Visual Code, what's so nice about this guy is once you're in here, if you do, control space, it gives you a list of all the attributes that you can apply for styling.
Got it. So
And you got to be careful because not all of these apply to every element.
gotcha. So even if you have so you can pretty much even get code from let me say the Spring Source or the .NET framework and paste it here, and you just tweak a few things. Then you can make it a mobile app easy. Is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool. That's nice then. Do they still use? I mean, do they use this a lot in like? I mean, I've been in companies whereby they say, "Oh, we want to build." Let me say you're doing an enterprise system, and they want us, and they always say like, "Oh, we want to make this. We want to create the mobile," and they create, let me say, the mobile testing team. So, are they using this style, or are they React Native, or they are doing it differently?
That kind of depends on the company.
Okay.
Like the company I'm at, we currently don't have any true mobile apps.
Mhm.
They're using the actual web coding
Okay.
that allows you to say, to Doctor Who. Should still be up. There it is. All right. So this is a web version, but if I start shrinking my page
Mhm.
because of the CSS I have, the CSS basically switches my site to be mobile-like. So it acts like a mobile application, but it's really a web application. So that's what the company I'm at currently is doing for applications. Now, some companies may like uh, Android, so they may only create Android applications. So they might just go take their Java people, if they have them, and go out and quickly hack out a Java Android app using the Android tools. It just kind of depends on the companies. Truthfully, in today's world, it makes really no sense to go out to a specific architecture and build an app for iOS directly or Android directly. Unless you're doing something like gaming or something that's very native to to a device. Uh, for instance, like the iPhone cameras, if you're doing something that's specifically photo and you needed like all that HD resolution, Dolby, whatever, then yes, you would probably want to either do a Swift, use Xcode to build out your application, uh, or Android if you're doing something specific to a particular device. Now, with that being said, for most generic applications, you should be doing something using a tool like this because really, you want to get your app out to as many people as possible, unless there's a reason for you not to allow your application like to Android and you want to just strictly keep it on iOS.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
No problem. All right. So with that, let's just quickly review. So today we talked about the text component. The text component is a React component for displaying text. It supports nesting, styling, and touch handling, which we did not cover here, but we will cover when we get to events and handling. We can also define static references so that we can declare text globally, so we don't have to repeat or constantly type the same text over and over. This is very good to avoid typos. We also looked at the number of lines attribute, which allows us to restrict the number of lines our text can wrap on. And we also talked about some of the different container properties and styling that goes along with our text component. That's it for today's discussion on React Native. I'd like to thank you for your time. If you would like to discuss any of these topics further or talking more about React Native, send us your comments or questions at info@developernerd.com. You can reach us at our website, developernerd.com/contact us. We're also on YouTube and Vimeo. Our goal is making every developer better. Thank you. Have a great day.